Welcome back to the Experience Franklin County, Indiana podcast. This week, we're talking about some very exciting things coming up in Brookville, Indiana. Let's get right into this week's interview. Hey, friends, I'm here with Brian Noah today, and we're going to be talking about a couple of different things, but one I'm very excited about. Brian has been instrumental in making a lot of things happen in Brookville and in Franklin County. Brian, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to visit this afternoon.
You're very welcome. This is a big topic and very timely here in Brookville and Franklin County as a whole.
It is. And as we continue to grow as a tourism destination, I see nothing but good in our future. So today we're talking about DORA, and that's not a person, that's the Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area. Brian, can you tell us a little bit about what DORA is?
So DORA, for those that aren't familiar with it, is just as the acronym says, a designated outdoor refreshment area. It is for your typical tourist and even residents of Brookville, Franklin County, to be able to walk up and down the streets with a refreshment while with family, while shopping, just kind of being out and relaxing for the day. And that, like I said, is either for your typical tourist, as you and I have talked, or even the local people.
Right. And I got to play tourist for the last week or so. My wife and I took a tour of the eastern shore of Lake Michigan. We started out about the Indiana line and went all the way up to Traverse City and hit all those beach towns up and down the coastline. And so many of those towns have enacted a DORA, and they up there have been going on some since about 2017, since pre-pandemic. And it has been just such a great thing for those. Have you looked at other towns, maybe in Indiana or around while you were working on this?
Yes, while we were working on this, and certainly, Michigan's kind of ahead of the game. We looked at Madison being a river town. We looked at Lawrenceburg being a river town, and one of the things that we said and have said for years around here is, how do we connect the dots from the lake to our downtown? And that is how most of the places in Michigan, a place like Madison, Lawrenceburg, that is how they've, most recently connected the dots to their town, and having that outdoor refreshment area, having shops that are open, kind of what we would call not your regular 9 to 5 business hours. Like if you have a boutique or you have a bookstore, not running that business 9 to 5, but running it so that people in your campgrounds or people that are coming off the lake have a place to bring their family, have a place to shop and relax and enjoy.
You're absolutely right. And one of the challenges that we face in Brookville and in Franklin County that, for example, many of these towns in Michigan do not face, some of those towns in Michigan are literally right on the lakefront. So folks can finish their day at the lake and just walk downtown. And we can't really do that from Brookville Lake. People have got to, get in their car, come to town, find a place to park. And this is a great way to encourage people to do that, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And part of it, it's all kind of done in phases. And, for us, the white boxing of the buildings, the getting the right businesses in these buildings, and the right entrepreneurs in these buildings is just all part of it. And DORA is just another phase that we can enjoy now and be able to build on as we're working through all of the construction that we have going on right now.
And downtown Brookville is already looking beautiful. So much going on the storefronts and so on. One of the things I've noticed from our recent vacation is, and you and I both know, you can order, it seems like anything on Amazon, but those shops up there were filled with really unique items that you really can't find online, and that's a big draw for a town. That, like you said, having the right folks in the right place, isn't it?
Yes, two of our newest additions to Main Street Brookville is the bookstore and the boutique Whiskey Wrangler, and uh, we've had people call the newspaper office. We've had people reach out about those businesses because they had stopped in, they had seen something that they liked, and then had what you would call the opposite of buyer's remorse, and just really realized later down the road that they needed the item that they had because they couldn't find it online. And yeah, that's a big deal getting in the unique products that you just can't find elsewhere.
And over the past 3 or 4 years, I've noticed a real resurgence, not only in one of a kind items, but also in handicrafts, things like pottery or painting or stained glass. And I think that's a big draw because people now, we're kind of getting to, I'm speaking for myself. I grew up at a time when we all decorated our homes with home interior. And I don't know if you remember home interior or not, Brian. Uh, but every house had the same paintings in it, and now we're looking for something unique. Don't you think, as a society, that's what we're kind of migrating to?
It really is, and I know that one of the buildings that is on the plan to white box here in Brookville, it would have just that. Whether it's different artisans, different different crafts, different individual, whether it's paintings or sculptures or just showcasing what they can do, and even doing specific projects for people as contracted.
That's one of the shops that I enjoy the most are those that are, I would call them a consortium. They're almost like a mini mall where you've got several artisans under one roof, and you can wander around out of the weather if the weather is inclement and see those kind of things like painters and potters and photographers and so on. And I think Franklin County, in part, a good deal to Metamora, has been known for a long time as an artisans community. And I think DORA and all the phases that we're going through are really going to help that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say that one of the big pushes certainly has been for exactly what we're talking about, and we've said over the course of the last 3 years, as Brookville Main Street goes and as Brookville Main Street strengthens, which it has, then so go all of the other places around us. And you mentioned Metamore. A lot of the push that we've had here in Brookville and has surfaced in Metamore, and there's been a resurgence in Metamore as well. But yeah, we all share the same thing, which is trying to find that one individual piece or our something that complements our style as we move through life.
When I think of Brookville, when I think of Metamora, when I think of Franklin County, a word that comes to mind is unique. There's really, I've traveled all over the United States. I've traveled quite a bit in Europe, and I have never found any place quite like Franklin County. I've never found any place quite like Metamora. I've never found any place quite like Brookville. And I think those places deserve to be better known. And I think Dora and the other things are doing are only going to help that. Let's talk just for a moment about Brookville Main Street. You guys are doing some great things. Can you kind of bring us up to speed on some of the things that are going on?
Well, we're in kind of the final phase, the construction phase of a grant that we received. It's been 3 years ago now, and should be closing out this calendar year. But that encompasses 7 buildings being refaced. It's a facade grant. It doesn't get into the white boxing necessarily of all these buildings,
Right.
but to be selected, you had to as a building owner, you had to put out a dollar figure that you were willing to invest yourself on the inside of the building. So those 7 are being taken care of, and then there's another proposal out there that may take care of as many as 10 more buildings on Main Street. So there's more than just those 7 buildings as far as being under construction. as a facade, but that other project that's out there is something that would include white boxing as well. I can tell you that a local entrepreneur here that's working on those other 10 buildings, he gets a phone call while he's standing out front looking at the building before even purchasing. So there are businesses that are just waiting for a white box building to be able to jump into.
I think that's just fantastic. And Brookville, of course, is just a beautiful downtown. It's your typical small town Americana downtown. We've talked a little bit about some of the unique shops there, Oak and Twine, the new bookstore in town, which is fantastic. And folks, if you've not been in Oak and Twine, go in and just take a look around because the restoration on that building, it's that ceiling is magnificent, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of the buildings that I was speaking about as far as being worked on by a local group, and they've looked at it. You know, you get a feel like you're in like you're in Wrigleyville, like you're in downtown Chicago when you walk into Oak and Twine, because they've kept some of the brick exposed. They've re-exposed the tin ceiling, so it's a good mix of what used to be in there and what you see in some of the bigger cities.
You know, every time I walk into a building like that, I look at that exposed brick and I look at those tin ceilings and I think to myself, boy, if these walls could talk, I wonder what stories they could tell in the last 100 years that that building has been there. It's just, it's like it really is living history. And of course, you mentioned Whiskey Wrangler, but we've also got a lot of great dining options in Brookville, which only adds to a reason for folks to come, doesn't it?
It does. And, you know, a lot of times, since we're talking Main Street, people measure a town by, you know, how many ice cream shops you have, how many coffee shops you have. And, you know, we have the Daily Scoop. We have the Coffee on Main. We have certainly the Dairy Cottage down at the end of town. But you add to that, you add places like Hilltop, that's been there for years. You had the Pioneer, Third Place. It is that plus the mix of really locally owned, even franchises such as Skyline and Subway and Big Boys. It is quite the place. And then if you really want to go up and see the best of both worlds, right? You can see the lake while you're dining up at Ainsley's on the lake.
Yes, Franklin County, I think, is kind of underrated as a foodie destination, although that's changing a little bit because with Wagner's in Oldenburg winning the James Beard Award, that's probably been 2 years ago now. That has brought a lot of folks to our county, and of course, they often don't stop and they stop and have lunch in Oldenburg, but come down and explore the rest of the county. And part of DORA and part of what Main Street is doing is we're wanting to put our best foot forward, both for the locals and the visitors, right?
Yeah, the thing that Dora will do initially, Main Street has a lot of where it ties in. Main Street has a lot of festivals on the courthouse lawn, and you know, you put up that ugly orange fencing or metal guardrails or all of this other stuff that screams, you know, 21 plus. You can't take more than, you know, 5 or 6 steps with a sip of wine or beer, and then, you know, Dora comes in and re-regulates everything, and so now we'll be able to set up a band on the lawn for, you know, for a festival, and you'll be able to, you know, grab a table, grab a chair, watch the band, listen to the band right there from the courthouse lawn. So you know, it's a pretty big deal for that. It's a big deal for you know, for the aforementioned restaurants, the Third Place, Hilltop, where you can go from place to place, stop at businesses along the way, and shop, and then end up at another establishment, whether that's, you know, appetizer one place, meal at another place. It ties all of Main Street, no, you know, a full 6 to 10 blocks together.
One of the things that has been such a pleasant surprise to me as I have recently visited some towns that have enacted this is what a family friendly atmosphere it was. And I'm going to be really frank. Sometimes we struggle with the idea of alcohol in public. Yeah.
We do. We struggle with that. We struggle with that topic. And being a business owner, right? And I'll give you an example that I was asked by a group, "Hey, you own the Daily Scoop. Is that something that you're going to allow DORA refreshments in?" And I said, "Absolutely." The parents that are walking up and down Main Street, you're not going to get by the Daily Scoop without stopping in and getting ice cream for your kids. So that's part of it. But you come out of Whiskey Wrangler or you come out of Oak and Twine with your Dora cup that has wine in it, or you come out of the Pioneer with your Dora cup that has a draft beer in it. That's all part of it. We welcome that family because that's why we're here. We're here to service the entire family. And maybe mom and dad don't want ice cream, but you're not going to get by there without the kids stopping. So yeah, it is something that is on everybody's mind. The policing of it is on everybody's mind, and that's not part of DORA. The rules are going to continue to be enforced by our law enforcement and excise, and that doesn't change. It's just a matter of looking at who this is for, which it's not for the people that are out after midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning. That's not necessarily what DORA is about. It is a family friendly set of guidelines, a set of rules that allow the entire family to go out and enjoy their day.
Absolutely. And family entertainment, family time together is so important these days in a society that is, it seems to me, that is increasingly fragmented, giving opportunities for families to spend time together. In Franklin County, such a great way to do that. You can go to the lake and you can swim or jet ski or paddleboard. You can go to Wolf Creek Habitat and see the wolves, which is a fantastic opportunity for families to spend time together, and it's educational. You can go to Metamora and tour the grist mill and pick up some cornmeal to take home and make your own cornbread, and then come back to Brookville and mom can have a glass of wine, dad can have a beer. You can just enjoy a great evening together of shopping and dining. So I'm very excited about what the future holds for us. What are some immediate things that we can see happening in Brookfield? Is there anything that comes to mind, Brian?
The immediate things that we're seeing right now is as I said in the beginning, the finishing up of the construction phase. Main Street as a whole is looking at what is next steps, right?
Right.
So next steps for us are two things. Kind of on the small scale, something we've been trying to get done for a while is public restrooms on Main Street. As we finish up the construction, as we provide more places for businesses to jump into, that's going to mean more people and it's going to mean more traffic. So we're going to need more signage. We're going to need public restrooms, and then the really cool thing, which I'm not sure that we've touched on here, is something called augmented reality. Are you familiar with augmented reality?
I am, but I had no idea that something like that was going to be in Franklin County.
Well, we are in the process of exploring that. It's basically the next step in printed graphics, right? So,
Right.
if you can think of it in terms of, we have a big company here in Owens Corning,
Right.
and on one of their silos, they have the Pink Panther, right?
Right.
So if you can think of taking your phone and scanning a barcode or a QR code, and then holding it up to that Pink Panther and having the augmented reality have that Pink Panther dance, put on a top hat, grab a cane, something like that. that's the ideas that we're exploring right now, in Franklin County, to make it more of a destination for innovation.
I am so excited about that, and it's great that a small town like Brookville is on the leading edge of that, because even some of the bigger towns who promote tourism have not latched onto that yet. So that's really, really exciting. I'm so excited to see that come to fruition. Lots of great stuff coming up in Franklin County with the designated outdoor recreation area, refurbishing of buildings. It's a great destination.
In September, we have and I'll give you the exclusive on this, right? So in September, we have the chicken fry off on
Right.
September 14th. This will be our third year doing this in the courthouse lawn, and it will be bigger and better than years before. One, the DORA, it will be up and running, so that will help the festivities. We have a tribute band that we are going to put on stage in the evening, and that is Tumbling Dice. It's a Rolling Stones tribute band, so we think that we'll be able to bring people of all ages for that. And then kind of our ace in the hole is we have contracted the official Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken and from Yum Brands to attend this year's festival.
Oh my goodness.
He is the only officially licensed Colonel Sanders in actually the world. They can you can actually refer to him, and he can sign his name as the Colonel. He's been in commercials, and he is their guy for all of their publicity.
So don't forget the chicken fry off coming up on September the 14th on the Courthouse Square. Tumbling Dice, the Rolling Stones band, and who doesn't love the Rolling Stones, right? People of all ages are going to enjoy that band. And the official Colonel Sanders is going to be in Brookville, Indiana. That's a great photo and autograph opportunity for folks, isn't it?
It is, and he'll be walking around the whole time. He's bringing a couple cases of memorabilia with him as well for people to look at, and we'll man that table while he's out mingling with the crowd. And you may even see him up on stage with Tumbling Dice, doing whatever dance moves that he has acquired over the years.
Well, it seems like the chicken dance would be the
You would
would be
think, right?
the yeah, would be the obvious one for him. Well, I've been talking with Brian Noah here. We're talking about Dora and things going on in Brookville and a chicken fry-off coming up on September 14th. Lots of exciting stuff. If you've not been to downtown Brookville for a while, please take a moment, come on down and visit with us, stop in some of our great shops, grab a meal, grab a drink. Exciting stuff going on. Brian, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you. And as people come through, just remember everybody's open during construction.
That's a good point. Everybody's open during construction. All right, Brian, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Brian. Thank you so much, Brian, for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and talk with us about the things coming up in Brookville and Franklin County, Indiana. I am unreasonably excited about Colonel Sanders himself coming to Franklin County, Indiana. If you want to keep up with all the goings-on in Franklin County, Indiana, festivals, concerts, events, even dining, lodging, and so much more, well, you can check out our website 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's www.franklincountyin.com. And for late-breaking events and news, keep track of our social media channels. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on TikTok, and you can find us on Instagram. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Until next time, we hope to see you experiencing Franklin County.